Welcome to the You Can Man podcast, episode 97. I'm Josh.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Dave.
And on this week's episode, Facebook Shoutouts, Part 2.
Welcome back to the You Can Man podcast, where we believe what one man can do, you can do as well, but you got to have help from your friends and the proper know-how. Guys, we haven't done a Facebook shout-out episode since episode 41.
That's unbelievable.
We're on 97 now, so it's due time.
That was like 2007. Or
Yeah, right?
It does feel like it doesn't feel like that long ago, but when you say the number, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, episode 41.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, our Facebook group has been steadily growing, and we thought, you know what, we hadn't done that in a while. So we're going to take some time on this week's episode to do just that. But first, guys, what's been going on?
Stop saying let's go. That's all I got for you today. You know what I'm talking about? That's all I hear from all the kids out there. They're like, let's go, when they get excited. I hear it all the time. Listen, I can feel, I know what you're thinking. You're like, this is so Dave.
I thought you were talking to me.
No,
and I said,
I'm talking
to
this guy over here, Josh, the guy I'm pointing to that nobody can see. But no, you don't say that. It's like maybe it's because I spend like 12 hours a day on TikTok right now, and they're all doing it. But I'm just like, stop it. Stop saying that.
That's not in my world.
Stop saying. You don't hear that? Yeah. I hear it all the time.
I'm almost 40, but
I hear it all the time.
I can't say that I hear
Stop
that.
saying it. I get weird about these like little sayings. Like I always had an issue with no worries. And I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why, not because I don't want to tell you why, but because I don't know why. And I try not to get hung up on this stuff because
but you can't
there's no point in getting hung up on this, and I got bigger fish to fry, but I can't help it.
No, happens.
Give us an example of this use of let's.
So when people get excited, like if you just said we won the lottery and I were 8 years younger, I'd be like, let's go.
Okay, yeah. So it's like it's
an exclamation.
Very visceral, let's go.
Yeah.
Not like an invitation.
It's
like a leadership, like, let's go.
It is synonymous with
that's
okay.
That's registering now.
Yeah, I'm like, just stop doing it.
Sorry.
And it's if I heard it from one person, it would not be an issue. But it's like the same person keeps saying it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, mine is recently. It went away because it drove me crazy about 4 or 5 years ago. Just saying. That never bothered me. Someone out.
I kind of like that.
Say, just saying.
Kind of liked it.
No, it's always smug. It's always
when it's smug. Yeah, that's not okay.
Just saying. It's the weakest.
I liked it because
retort.
Well, it was because it was pretty petty. I think that's why I kind of liked it, because it was just that extra little like.
Yeah, it means means you made a good point, but I'm still just gonna.
Yeah, let's go.
No,
I feel you on that, and I don't identify with that issue, but I know what you're saying. Like when you just get hung up on one of these things, you can't help it.
Yeah, these kids and their phrases.
Okay.
These dang kids.
All right, guys, I got a question for you. Since our last episode, have you actually taken any steps to prepare for a disaster? Have you actually gotten more prepared?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, so Dave hasn't at all.
Made some purchases. I'm going to tell you of what.
Oh, okay.
My wife, I won't say too much, but my wife on this topic is kind of more gung-ho than I am. And so when I mentioned the system for storing extra gasoline, she was all in. She's like, yeah, like go buy some gas containers.
I'll say this. That's a good point. I will say this. If I do have things, or if I ever do, you're not going to know about it because I'm not going to be a target.
It's good. Yeah. Keep it close to the vest.
Yeah. So I did start another kind of pantry in our storage room in the basement. It's super weak. Like you go and look at it. It's
got to start somewhere.
Okay, that'll last you 3 days.
You could stretch it out.
You got that fruit roll-up shelf?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I did just what he said and basically just got stuff that we're kind of already using. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to rotate it out. First in, first out.
That's good.
And then we'll see. I have been researching. They make these things, rollers, like good rollers.
Yep.
They have them on Amazon. I've been looking at those. And then that way you can just feed it in the back and it rolls down.
I know I just said I wouldn't tell you, but I'll go ahead and tell you. I have done that in the past where we will buy things that we normally eat, and we'll just have a little stock of them. I didn't realize we'd burned through that. Okay, I didn't know. I'm not paying attention, and we're doing some work around the house, and so things are kind of a little bit helter skelter, if you will. And so, anyway, we gotta
get on it.
Yeah, we got to.
You know what you need to do? Let's go.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go. Dude.
Let's go.
Okay.
You're not using that right.
Josh,
so
do you have anything else to add?
No, went to spring break.
Thank you.
Went to spring break.
Yep.
Okay.
Club La Vila down in
spring...
Panama City, took the kids. It was pretty epic. No, we went to Chattanooga. It was good.
Did you go to Chattanooga? Did you go? What's Chattanooga? Yeah, you went to Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
Chattanooga's nice.
All right.
Chattanooga is not now what it was when we were younger.
Right.
Now save some of the Chattanooga talk because it's actually part of my bonus segment.
Okay.
All right. So I went to Chattanooga as well with the kids. Gave my wife a little break.
Did you guys go together?
No.
Same time. Different
Same
channel.
time, but yeah, we were doing different things. So I went as well. I had my 3 kids. It was good. Just a 2-night thing. We love Chattanooga. I'm actually going to Chattanooga on Friday as well.
Wow, you like it that much.
It's nice. Is it a kid friendly
Yes.
place? It is.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Very.
I'm going to look at this house on. It's unrelated. Anyways, but my bonus segment has to do with Chattanooga. Let's get into some Facebook group shout outs.
All right.
I'll go first. Okay. Very recent post.
For real stuff.
By a guy that he posts a decent amount. We're not going to use last names here because our Facebook
Privacy.
group is a closed group. But hey, we play well with everyone. If you want to join the You Can Man group,
Fill out the survey.
fill out the survey. Now, look, y'all, I don't know if y'all are bots or what. You're not going to answer our questions, then you're probably going to get declined. So
You got to get in the game.
you got to answer the questions before you join the group. So first off, Jason, he just recently posted.
Jason who?
Can't use the last name, Dave. Okay, let's go. Jason, he's redoing his front yard, and he posted about that he rented a thing called a dingo. Okay,
Love
now,
the dingo.
Now, if you're not familiar with a little
Maybe the dingo ate your baby.
okay.
Had to.
If you're not
Seinfeld.
familiar with a dingo, it's essentially like a very miniature bobcat.
Skid steer.
Skid steer.
Do you drive it or does it drive you?
You can ride on it.
You
Okay.
ride on this thing, and it's got a little bucket. It's probably got different attachments, but he had the bucket attachment on it, and it was a referral. What am I trying to say? A recommendation from another UK Man Group page member, Brad, and he told him, "Hey, you got to get the dingo. You're redoing your yard like this," and he did, and so he posted some pictures of it, and I don't know what the cost is on renting one of these. I feel like didn't you get one of
rented
these,
one,
Josh? Okay, do you remember about what it costs?
No, it's in the hundreds of dollars, but I would have paid double. It's so worth it.
It was invaluable to have.
It's
right?
it's like having 10 dudes working with you.
Yeah. Now I've used something similar to it. It's essentially the same kind of thing, but it basically just had a big hopper. It was like some of my concrete.
Yep.
When I was having some concrete work done, and they had one of those, and so I drove it around a little bit. It was kind of cool. It just basically had this big bucket. It was like a powered wheelbarrow.
Yes.
Essentially the same kind of thing. But if you're redoing your yard and you don't want to go through getting an actual skid steer,
Right.
this is going to be your best option, especially if you've got a smaller yard.
If you've got a pile of dirt or rocks to move, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, so look up Google dingo, and I guarantee you whatever reputable rental house near you is going to have one of these. So Jason, thanks so much for posting about your dingo rental.
Google the computer to say dingo.
Dave, go.
Okay. All right, my turn. So I got to give a shout out to Michael for 2 reasons. Number one, because he asked a question that's near and dear to my heart. Everybody around this table knows that I love pocket knives. Also, because I didn't respond to his question, which I feel really bad about. But look, I don't get on Facebook. Tim is always on me. Dave, check the Facebook page. Dave, check the Facebook page. I never do it until Tim calls me and is like, hey, somebody's asking you a question. So Michael asked the question. He said, hey, I have misplaced my beloved Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Fantastic knife. Should I just get another one or should I get something else? What's your favorite EDC? What's your favorite everyday carry blade? And so I chimed in. What did I say? I don't even remember. I love the PM2. It's one of the best knives out there. If you've never bought a pocket knife, it's eye-wateringly expensive. I think you can get it for like $150, $170. So they're pricey. It's my favorite knife, maybe. I did a segment on this where I named my favorite ones, and it was, I think, my number 2. Anyway, so I said, hey, get a PM2, or if you want to upgrade, get a Benchmade 940. And this is where, so he responded to that, and now I'm going to answer his question. So he says, thanks. So you say the PM2 is king, but the 940 is an upgrade. If it were down to these two, which would you go with? Would you still go with the PM2? I'd go with the 940 personally. The reason I wanted to give options is because the 940 is even more expensive. You're going to fork over like 2 bones for a new 940. You can find them a little bit cheaper used, but if it were me, I'd get the 940. I love that knife. Benchmade's a fantastic company. They'll give you stuff for free. You email them and you're like, hey, I need a new clip. They just send you a new pocket clip.
Didn't Judd, who's been on the show before, he mentioned that he went to their factory and they like sharpened his knife for him.
They have a program called Life Sharp, I think is what it's called. And you just send your knife. You have to pay shipping, but you just send your knife to them and they'll sharpen it for free. I have a very, very nice Benchmade. And if you ever break the blade or if you wear the blade, like if you sharpen it enough to where it's essentially a toothpick, you pay $20, you get a new blade. So
wow.
You pay, they call it the Benchmade tax. You pay more money just because of that name, but you also are paying for what is far and away the best customer service in the industry. They have fantastic products, and it's just really good.
Sounds
really
like
good
we need
knife.
a sponsorship.
And it sounds like you need to do another segment on pocket knives.
I could talk about pocket knives for longer than people would want to listen, so maybe we'll do that.
All right, Josh, go.
Okay, so I'm going to pick one here that's very fresh on the page, and that is a question about a truck, a good truck for a DIYer.
This is very fresh.
And,
this is like
I feel like you can answer this.
ago.
Which one not to buy?
This was hours old. And yeah, looking for opinions on F-150 versus Ram versus Silverado. Already had a couple people chime in on Tundra. So I'm down here. I posted the GIF of Michael Jackson eating popcorn.
It's a GIF.
I posted Michael Jackson eating popcorn because, I mean, there is like hair flying already. People
they're passionate, right?
The camps are getting set up. We're getting ready for battle over here. But, our guys, for the most part, are pretty humble. So we'll see what shakes out. We've got a couple of votes for Tundras. There's a couple of votes for Rams already.
Josh, if you go out tomorrow, what truck you buying?
Ford F-150.
Tim, what truck you buying?
If I had the money, I'd probably do a Tundra. I don't know. But my go-to is always going to be Ford.
Right.
But I don't know, man. Those Toyotas. But
I don't like the Toyotas. They're Tupperware, but I work with a guy who has an 09 Tacoma. He says he literally has just bought a new F-150 or a newer F-150. He has people knock on his door routinely asking he had guys call him and say, they had replaced his roof. They said, we're coming back. We have money. We're going to buy your truck. He was like, it's not for sale.
Or the F-150?
The Tacoma.
Okay.
Like those older Tacomas, Tundra, they're all good trucks.
Yeah, Toyota's making a solid truck. I don't think you can get the crew cab with the full 4-door longer than a 5.5-foot bed.
Really?
I think. Yep. I'm pretty sure.
You can get some really long.
Someone's going to tell me I'm wrong.
You can get some really long Toyota truck. Have you ever seen the single cab Toyotas? And it's like a bizarrely long truck bed.
That's what I'm going to be in the market for is the full size 4-door pickup. And I don't think the Tundras come in anything longer than a 5.5-foot bed.
Okay. I don't think if I was in the market for a truck, I don't think I'd be getting a full-size truck. I think I would be more like Tacoma, or you guys may hate this.
It's because you carry a purse. I mean,
the new Ranger.
I like the Ranger.
No, that's not bad.
When it first came out, I was like,
I wouldn't buy it.
Don't like it.
Well, what's crazy about these trucks now is in the cars too. But yeah, I saw a brand new Ranger in the parking lot, and that was the size of the full size F-150.
Oh, they've totally
like in '96.
Yeah.
Like they're big trucks.
I had to. I rented a truck last week. I had to do a site visit out of town. Flew to Raleigh. I had to take a ladder on site, so I had to rent a truck. Anyway, I'm at the airport, and they were like, "Hey, man, pick your truck." I was like, "Sweet, love when they do that." So I walk out. The first truck I see is an F-150 King Ranch, which is I don't know if this is top of the line, but it's up there.
Second, Platinum, I think, is the best.
Yeah, and I was like, "I'll take the King Ranch." And he's like, "All right, man." He's like, "Yeah." And he goes and gets the keys. He hands them to me, and I'm like opening the door. He goes, "Whoa!" Whoa. He's like, "That one we gotta." Someone just said we gotta keep that one here for maintenance. So then he walks me down to a base model Ram, and I was like, "Man, God, for real?" I was like, come on, man. I was legitimately excited to drive that King Ranch.
Yeah.
That's a downgrade.
It was a big downgrade, but it's probably good because that's a situation where I'll literally come home and be like, I'm buying that truck tomorrow.
Yeah, I rode in a friend's crew cab F-150 recently, and I was like, well, I guess this is my next vehicle.
Guys need trucks. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and after that last podcast with Will the Prepper, I gotta have an escape pod. I gotta be able to drive around roadblocks.
He said Raptor. He said Raptor's the perfect vehicle.
Oh yeah,
and so
again,
they've gone V6 though, man.
That's still a powerful.
I know, yeah, but it's.
And you're
always
gonna
wanted,
drop 35K.
I want displacement, baby.
2014.
All right, so that's one to watch on the Facebook page. Okay, I gotta give a shout out. Now look, this guy's got his own topic category on our page. His name is Brad.
What's his last name?
And look, y'all, Brad has posted a ton of stuff.
He's an active user.
He really is. And so his newest thing is he's just going to build his own house. So, he might as well at this point. And so he's going to be the GC on building his own house. But he's bought this land, and he's going to be building other houses as well. So not just his, but he's going to GC. Well, maybe he's just hiring the builder.
Sounds like he's doing it right, though.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a little development, make some real money like that.
Right. And I had commented on his posts on the house that he's done a ton of work to that they're currently in, that he just sold. He's under contract, I guess. And he had done all these videos on him fixing up his house that they're currently living in, about to move out of. And I'm like, bro, did you put all those videos on your seller's disclosure form? And he said he did let the guy know that. And he just did such legit work on this house. I would want to see that.
Yeah, he does. He does great work. He's doing this at the right time, though. Building my own house has always been a little bit of a dream of mine, and now would be the perfect time to do it because you can get sky high prices for your house. There's no inventory. You can't buy a house right now, and so.
Yeah, but you're also going to be paying out the nose.
You will be, yeah. For materials, it's ridiculous out there right now. Tim, I apologize, I interrupted you.
Oh no,
cut you off.
That's it. All
right,
it's your turn, Dave.
I'm up next. I'm going to give a shout out to my namesake, David, who it looks like he upgraded his saw, his circular saw, not his circular saw, his compound miter saw, which is kind of near and dear to my heart. Have I already said that? Look, I just talk about things I'm passionate about.
You buy once, cry once.
But I have never bought a compound miter saw, and I'm always on the edge. I don't ever need one bad enough.
You're borrowing a good friend.
I'm borrowing yours,
yeah.
and I'm jealous of it because you got a nice table for it, and yes, a DeWalt is legit. I really like it, and so I'm kind of jealous of David. I don't know if he has two saws now, but anyway, I need to go out there and get me a saw, and maybe David can take me shopping.
So it's that time of year. It's spring in Georgia.
Spring has sprung.
Yeah, everybody's into grass talk. So there's a couple of guys, Mike, Jason, out there doing some new lawns. My lawn's coming in fresh. It is. I mean, we're in prime time. My lawn is looking like a
beautiful
golf course.
You haven't, but you told me you haven't overseeded in a couple of years now.
Yeah. And so it's established enough. If I overseeded, it would be perfect probably. But I've been lazy in the fall. So. Anyway, I got some bad ruts and it's not perfectly level. And now
you want to get that leveled?
On TikTok, There's these guys that do now they don't have fescue typically, but they do the sand.
Yes.
They drag it, quarter inch every 2 months or something. They build it up so that, it just... And I've read you can use like 50% topsoil and 50% sand mix for fescue works, but don't go deeper than half an inch at a time and all that. Anyway, I'm really thinking about just doing a couple passes
you're
on that.
You're going to kill your lawn. I would kill my lawn if I tried to do that.
I've got some bad spots that I think I can it can get really nice.
It just seems like with fescue, you try to do that, it's gonna like dethatch it too much where it's gonna just tear it up.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
My yard, I mean, it is thick in there. Like if you get in, like it can take a haircut pretty good down to the soil.
Yeah, your yard looks incredible this time of year.
All right, hey, look, my yard looks good
at the end of June. We'll talk again. It won't be as nice.
Friggin' fescue, like it starts off strong. You've got to start with the antifungal right now. I keep saying this weekend I'm going to do it. I never do it.
Yeah, it's
that brown patch.
Yeah, cool season grasses don't belong in Georgia with the global warming and all.
Yeah, you got to be up in Kentucky.
Right.
Okay, next shout out. Old friend of mine. She's actually, I know her from my photography circles. She was a photographer years ago. I don't know, maybe she's still doing it. Ashley. Now, her and her husband bought a property on, I believe, the Gulf Coast of Florida, if I'm not mistaken, and they're doing an Airbnb with it. And she just went and just built some bunk beds in this thing, and she posted some photos of it. So then this way, she's able to say, now we can sleep, X amount of people because she's just up the amount of beds that she's got in this place. And it looks great. So great job, Ashley. Side note, on their Airbnb, she's posted pictures, and I think she included this with the post. I'm not quite sure. But they got a friggin' bald eagle nest, like right outside this Airbnb where you can just like check it out when you're staying there. So if you're part of the Facebook group, definitely check that out. And maybe you take your family to stay in their Airbnb.
Okay, so I got to give a shout out to Mike, who it looks like he's staining his front door, and I wish I were at that level. My front door is easily the worst part of my house. Like it doesn't close. I mean, it closes, but it doesn't latch. Like the lock is keeping it.
Got to get a good lean on it.
You literally have to lean into it, lock the door, and then when you open it, it sounds like a Major League Baseball player is taking a hack at a baseball. Like the crack is just, it is in rough shape. Mike, I just looked at the picture of his front door. I'm like, dude, why are you doing anything to that? I think his wife is making him do it. But anyway, Mike, more power to you. It looks like you got some questions answered. I am not your resource for staining your front door because I'm way farther behind. But anyway, he's getting it done.
All right, I'm going to give a shout out to a guy that is sitting across the table. Tim posted pictures of his library. I know he'd already mentioned this, but like
you can't give me the shout out. I mean, come on.
I can because it's been like a year in the making. But no, I've at least had 2 or 3 people like outside of the circle that's in this room, including my wife, who bring up the pictures randomly. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Tim's library! It's like a magazine." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it." I'm
quietly kind of in awe of many of Tim's projects. Like Tim takes it to a level that I just don't. First of all, I don't have the time for it, and second of all, I don't have the mental fortitude to see it through.
Tim's got a good manager too.
Yeah, they've got a good system going.
This is actually the real reason why I get stuff done.
Yeah, I get my projects look nice, but they're only 87%.
My wife, she doesn't beat me, and so we don't look. As a result, we don't get good work.
Right. Yep. Understood.
Now, Josh, you helped with the library, okay?
I mean, did hold a shelf while you screwed in.
Well, you did that, but you also helped me with the
French doors.
The French doors.
All right, I did most of it. You're right.
So Josh helped with all this, so it wasn't just me.
No, it looks awesome, and the pictures are phenomenal. Obviously.
Yes, all on the Facebook group. Josh, appreciate that. All right, next is Daniel, old friend of mine. He just decided, you know what? I'm just going to build my own grill. And, I was like looking at the first few pictures that he posted. I was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Where it's like you'll see like the first 4 and you're like, I don't know, man.
Where is this going?
And it came together in the end.
And then I clicked on, the other photos and I was like, all right. I mean, that's cool. Like
you could cook stuff on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like, look, I want something a particular way, and so I'm just gonna build my own grill. So
it ain't got to be pretty.
Yeah,
is it pretty? I haven't seen it.
Honestly, when it was all put together, it looked really decent. It really did. So it just basically just like out of block. I mean, it was just like very, just bare bones, but it looked cool.
Grills is a pretty simple implement.
Yeah.
Right?
Not much to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
It's
not a whole lot to it.
utilitarian.
Not taking anything away from the man. He obviously took on a job I'm not going to do. I'm just going to buy one.
Right. I just thought it was impressive that he was like, you know what? I wanted a particular way, so I'm just going to build my own.
That's the
So,
that's the UK man spirit.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Daniel, he was also he's a military guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so those guys, I mean, yeah, like my brother, they cut a hole in a folding chair and call it a toilet. So they don't need much. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for our Facebook group shoutouts. We need to do this again. We need to do it actually more often. Maybe we can make it part of our like bonus segments or something like that, because there's literally a crazy amount of projects.
I wanted to say this group is kind of beyond at least my capacity to keep up with. I was categorizing every post, but now it's kind of self-operational. There's so many ideas and so many members now that it's very self-sustaining and very informational.
I need to take my own advice that I'm about to give, but if you haven't been on the Facebook page, it really is a great resource. It's almost become, I mean, it's kind of a living organism at this point. Like it just kind of, keeps itself alive.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of action on there, a lot of great advice. And look, man, it's just a bunch of friends helping each other out.
And so far, we don't have that old dude who's like mean to everybody that knows everything.
That'll be, I think that'll be me, right? Stop saying let's go.
We do not have the drama that I see in other groups yet.
Well, we would police it. They'd be out. So.
One last little thing we've got, I think he's a newer member, Travis, and he has started a YouTube channel and has been posting some of the videos that he's been doing. Here I'm looking at one, building a basement bathroom from scratch. So really useful information. He's got another one on adding a new 20 amp circuit in his garage because he was having an issue with some stuff tripping. So a lot of useful information out there, guys. Definitely check out our Facebook group page. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, I've got a bonus segment having to do with Chattanooga. We'll be back. Do you have an idea for a website that you've just been sitting on forever and ever and just can't get it off the ground? Well, maybe website hosting and domain name registration and all these things kind of confuse you. They did me at one point in time, but I've been using getsimple.net for years. Hosting your website can be really complex, such a hassle, but not when you go to getsimple.net. Whether you need hosting for something specific like WordPress or you need to register a domain name, Simple Source Solutions can help you dump the stress and get back to doing what makes your business great. Simple Source is your trusted hosting provider for all your hosting needs. We've got a promo code for you guys. So to get started, visit getsimple.net and use promo code YCM for 10% off your order. That's promo code YCM at getsimple.net.
All right, welcome back. This week, Tim has a special segment on Chattanooga. What you got, Tim?
All right. So recently went to Chattanooga. I just want to say Chattanooga is a great city. All right. It's got a lot of touristy kind of stuff, but it doesn't really feel touristy. It's kind of one of these cities. It's small enough to where you can navigate it like in all of 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can be on one side of town and the other.
Everything is 14 minutes.
It really is.
They have a dog park / brewery. Like in Chattanooga, which is not my thing, but that caught me off guard because I had when I saw that, previous to that, the last time I'd been in Chattanooga, all that was there was the aquarium. And anyway, they've stepped their game up.
Yeah, that was kind of like it's the start of a lot of the tourism other than the things on Lookout Mountain. I would say the aquarium. So for those of you that are not in the Southeast, you probably don't know where we're talking about, Chattanooga, Tennessee. But I'm going to talk about one particular tourist attraction that has been going since 1928, if I got the dates correct.
I can already tell this is a tourist attraction that you're excited about and nobody else is.
No, man. No, look. Okay, Ruby Falls.
Oh, yeah, Ruby Falls.
Ruby Falls.
Old school.
Okay, so if you are from the Southeast, and let's say you're older than, say, 30 years old at least, you driving on the highways, it's like ubiquitous. Like see Ruby Falls along with see Rock City.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not as much now, maybe just because it's it's, everyone knows it so well now. And so maybe they don't do it as much. But there was a huge kind of marketing kind of thing. More so, I was kind of reading more like the 70s, 80s, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
Side of barns and that sort of thing on the major highways, see Ruby Falls, right? So it has been open for a very long time. But I wanted to give a brief history of Ruby Falls because it's one of those things where I went to as a kid. And I just never really looked into like, how did this come up? Like, who found this? Like, what is this about? And I know that when you go there, they've got the story of it. I just never took the time to read it. Are you guys? Do you?
I think you only take the time to read it when you're over 35.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I mean.
So we should say what Ruby Falls is, but I'm just going to ask the question: is Ruby Falls the one where you ride an elevator down into the earth, and then they tell you you're now going down below an air? They can't. Well, they'll never get you out if
you have to be. I mean, I think being a dad helps because you have to be the guy that's like, "Hey, kids, this is really interesting. Come read this long thing on the wall."
I was just thinking, though, that's why my kids are never going to see Ruby Falls, and it's kind of sad because these are the kind of places that my parents drag. When I was a kid, they dragged me to these things, and I hated it when I was a kid. Now I look back on it with fond memories. But I'm not, for that reason, I'm probably not going to be loading my kids up into the car to take them to Ruby Falls.
Well, you got to, Dave. I mean, it's just,
tell me why.
Tell me why. It's part of Southern. You just got to do it. I mean, it's one of these things that's like a touristy thing, but you got to do it at least.
Well, I want to hear more about Ruby Falls.
Okay, so Ruby Falls is Lookout Mountain, Georgia, and it is inside a cave. And it is a waterfall. I mean, that's a basic description of it, but it's gorgeous. I mean, it's this huge waterfall that's underground, okay? You take an elevator shaft down to the cave. You walk
You're in a rock. Like you're in an elevator inside a rock.
I mean, you were down over 1,100 feet, I believe.
That's a long way.
It's a long
underground.
way.
And you go and you walk down the path, and it's got all these, the cave stuff, the stalagmites. Yes, all that kind of stuff. It's got all of those features. And then you come to the grand finale of this massive waterfall, and they got it all lit up and everything like that. But I was wondering, how in the world, what's the history of this? Okay. So there was a Lookout Mountain cave, and it had an entrance basically at the base of Lookout Mountain. And it had been, gone through and navigated. Some stories
for eons.
Some stories say some explorers went in as much as 12 miles into this thing. But along came the railroad. And the railroad had to do something where they sealed off the entrance to the cave. And all these people that were cave enthusiasts were like, shoot, now we can't go. There's no public access.
No
to
more
this
spelunking.
Massive caving system. And apparently, I mean, this was a thing. Like, this is what you did. Like, if you're into caves, there's this massive cave system, Lookout Mountain Cave, that you could go and explore. And then the railroad came through and they blocked off the entrance.
Okay.
So along comes Mr. Leo Lambert. He was a chemist and cave enthusiast. And he had the idea, you know what? We gotta find a way to get down into this cave, and I'm going to use it as like a tourist attraction. I love caves, and I want people to see the cave. So he bought some land further up the mountain, and he thought, I'm going to dig down and create an elevator shaft to the cave. How cool is this? Right?
That's awesome.
So
that's a power move.
They buy the land and they start digging through, I guess, limestone, I think is mostly what it was. And as they're digging, they discover a void in where they're digging. And it says it was like 18 inches deep, but then it was like 4 feet wide or something. So it was just big enough, I guess, for them to get inside of it. And, I guess this is like in the 20s, and they're like, whatever, let's do it. And they get in this thing. And 17 hours later, they find Ruby Falls.
By crawling in this void?
They discovered it?
Yes. Like
Jeez.
this just so this would not have been
When was
discovered.
it? What year?
1928.
Long.
Just inside a mountain. And they found that void.
Yeah, this is in 20. Maybe I got the date wrong. It's in the 20s. So as they're digging down to meet Lookout Mountain Cave, they discover Ruby Falls Cave. which is above. So it's a different cave system. It's not even like really connected directly with Lookout Mountain Cave. So this is kind of just like this happenstance. Like, oh, well, we know that Lookout Mountain Cave is supposed to be deeper. This is something different. Mm-hmm. It got its name because the second time he went down, they came back out to tell everybody we found this amazing cave. Blah blah blah. Let's get this waterfall. He brings his wife down. His wife's name is Ruby. He says, "I'm going to name it after you."
It's all coming together now.
It's all coming together. So they're actually the elevator shaft that they built, they eventually blocked off the entrance to the Lookout Mountain Cave because no one really wanted to go there.
Boring.
Yeah.
They just wanted to go to Ruby Falls. So I was unclear with my reading as to whether or not the existing elevator shaft that you can visit today has the capability to go down further.
Yeah, can people even get
I don't
to
know.
that?
Can you overpower the elevator operator and take it down?
I'm not sure, but that would be really cool. But how amazing is it that they just found this by digging a shaft to a different cave?
I don't know why. I had never thought about it, but I'm like, yeah, they made that thing. Like they dug that out and made it.
I thought you were going where like they ended up they found some water and then they just hollowed out like a big void.
It's too I don't know.
Grandiose.
Yeah, I was gonna say grandiose. It's too grandiose to be real. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Now they did shape around the falls to where they could fit more people around the falls, so they kind of
more paying customers.
Yeah, they carved out around it so you could get a better view.
Capitalism.
Yeah. And anyways, I just thought it was fascinating.
That's a really cool story.
Another little side note is the water is very pure. However, it has high concentrations of magnesium, so you don't want to drink it because it is a natural laxative.
Also, milk of magnesia.
Also, I can remember thinking when I had visited there before, what happens if you get stuck down here? There's just the one elevator shaft. You get this claustrophobic kind of feeling going. Well, state of Tennessee years ago made them create an additional shaft that's an exit.
Oh, you got to.
Yeah.
That would be just horrific. I mean, like all of the tourists,
right.
It'd be like 300 people gone.
So if the elevator ever breaks,
okay, well, I can rest easy then.
There's an exit shaft somewhere that goes down to, I think, the base of Lookout Mountain. And you can actually go into this thing. They do this thing like certain months of the year where it's like this kind of like creepy ghost thing or something. And you can go down this other shaft that was made for an exit.
That's cool.
So anyways, look, if you're anywhere in the Southeast.
I'm going to have to go again. I haven't been in 25 years probably.
Yeah, we tried to go while I brought the kids this past week, and everything was just booked up because of COVID. So you got to go online. And
they probably reduced the capacity.
Exactly, because we drove by it, and I was like, well, it doesn't look packed. And it's just because, they're only allowing a certain amount of people in there because of COVID, but hopefully that will be lifting soon. Anyhow, that's the basic story of how it came to be. And I hope you guys found that interesting.
I thought it was fascinating.
I'm going back. No,
I guess I gotta take the kids. It's always satisfyingly cold down there. Like you get it down there and you're like, ooh.
Especially in the dead of summer.
It's like a real dead of summer. Got to.
Yeah, I think it's always what a constant.
Let's go.
Right. Okay, that's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks so much for sticking with us, guys. And we're on a every other week schedule, so we'll see you in 2 weeks. Catch you next time.